Hello, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and wherever you are in this wide, wonderful, beautiful world that we live in, you're very welcome to the Global Sales Leader podcast. I'm your host. I'm the sales relationship coach. What I believe and do pretty much all the time is sales is also about that relationship. You've got to build those relationships so you can nurture, so you can help customers to get what they want. And remember, it's all about the customer. The more you focus in on them, the more you listen, the more you learn, the more you understand, the more you can get that connectivity. That's one approach. But I have a wonderful guest today, and hopefully I can get your surname correctly, Simon. Is it Simon Severino? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. Simon
Ah,
Severino. Yeah.
yeah, you probably say it in a slightly better dialect than I do. So, Simon, you're very welcome to this podcast show. Look, I got a little bit of a synopsis about you, but I'd love you to fill in some of the blanks because I'd like you to start talking. Simon is an author, strategy of sprints, and host of Strategy Sprints podcast, another podcast. He's also been interviewed by Powerhouse, Rita McGrath, David Allen, Nara Errol, and so many others. But he has a methodology around about a 90-day of getting owners out of the weeds and out of the mud, as they say. So they're actually stepping up and stepping out. Thanks for joining me today. Look, I really appreciate that. Could you mind filling in the blanks, all the anchor points along the way to help you to get where you got to today? Because it's really good to understand your context.
Sure. Thank you, Jason. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm Simon Severino, and for the last 19 years, I've been doing only one thing, helping people double their revenue. And it was a complicated thing. I would have to fly there, and we would have long workshops. And today, thanks to technology, it's much simpler. It works everywhere. They tag me quickly and say, "Hey Simon, should I do this or should I do that?" And hey, give me a second, and I answer them. It's like Spider-Man and his friend, the guy in the chair. That's how we can do it now online, and it's pretty cool. And that's really the only thing that I do: double revenue in 90 days. And the way we do it is coaching, and I have colleagues around the globe. We use all the same method. It's the strategy sprints method, and that
Simon,
method.
I'm really curious. What made you get into this? What is, before we get into the coaching and all the other elements of that, I'm always curious about how people do things. What made you get into that place of where you are right now? Because that's curious, and that will help other people to get what they want.
So, what is the vital thing for a business, right? If I can pick one thing, what can I do to help people run resilient businesses under every weather condition? And I can pick only one thing. I want them to have more time and more money.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. These are the vital two. So what is my purpose in life? What can I offer to the world, and what's the best way for me to offer it? That was my question. And I was flying around helping people with go-to-market. So I said, hey, what I can offer is the modern version of advisory, the guy in the chair that is on your phone with you and that can help you in the moment where you really need the decision, and not like 1 month later when HubSpot gives you some data, or 2 months later when I fly to your city, but right now, right here. So how can I really be of service where people are right now? Number one, nobody knows what's going on outside. So everybody clueless about the markets. If you look at the markets right now, look at the stock market, look at the crypto market. It's highly volatile. Nobody knows where it's going. So these are the real conditions for entrepreneurs right now. And how can I best serve these conditions of absolute uncertainty and volatility? And this is why I started what I'm doing.
Awesome. So what do you think are the challenges that business owners having right now to generate more sales? Because this is more of a sales-focused podcast because I want to help people to get what they want. There's lots of different strategies out there. I'm actually a certified in several different areas of the Richardson consultation, consultative strategy, and major account strategy, and blah, 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 whatever else. But I'd like to hear from your point of view so we can understand where you're going and what are the incremental steps to help people get what they want, especially in these times of adversity.
The main thing that I see people doing is first, they spend too much time on marketing and not enough on sales. The second thing is that even in sales, they don't get rid of the admin part, like the preparation and the documentation. It's really easy right now with software to automate that, to delegate that. You don't have to do data entry, for example. I see people doing data entry. And then the next thing is how you really organize the sales process, how you divide the work between appointment setters and closers. And the next thing ties to the first one. It's really how you allocate your time as a salesperson. Maybe we start there. And some people say, but I'm not a salesperson. Well, whatever you are doing, you'll have no oxygen in the room if you don't have sales. So you'd better think of yourself as a salesperson, whatever you're doing.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think everyone is a salesperson, regardless of what you do. I think solicitors, accountants, they're all selling something. They're all selling a service. They've got something that someone wants. So regardless of where you think you are or you're not, I think people get a little bit scared about the word sales, but that's what makes the world go round. Without that, we haven't got anything. Everything that we're using this technology, someone sold to us, or we saw the merits of it, and then we bought it. So it was being sold to us.
We can replace that word because it's highly inflated with meaning. If we just replace that word, and then it's about starting conversations and intensifying those conversations into real commitments together. Let's start with that, more of a neutral framework, right? How do we start conversations? How do we intensify them so that it becomes a real commitment together? Now, the main problem is distraction. That's why I have one tool that I use every day. My daily habit is I write down how I use my time, how I allocate my time. And then in the evening, before I go cooking or playing with my kids, I reflect with 2 questions that this template that I use asks me 2 questions. One is, which of these tasks will you delegate tomorrow, Simon? And the other question is, if I would live more freely and more intentionally, what would I do tomorrow? So I answer these questions quickly. Tomorrow I delegate the accounting. If I would live more freely, I would write a book. And then I design the flow of tomorrow on that same sheet, informed by these questions. So that's my daily habit. I have a daily, weekly, and monthly habit. That's the daily habit. Because as a business owner, so many things are not in my control, just maybe 2% are in my control. Well, these are the 2%, how I allocate my time today and tomorrow. So
I totally agree. I think it's look at things that you can control. You can control your own diary to a certain extent. You can control your own life, but you can't control other things that are coming into you that automatically distract you. And I work in the same principles as yourself. I have a morning habit routine, and I get up early and I read. It's one of the big things. I invest into myself and read intently. And then I set out my daily strategy, and I also have an evening strategy, because I actually find that when you have a strategy at night, you sleep on it and you think about it at night, and then you wake up in the morning and hopefully you would have had the idea from what you set your intentions for at the evening, because the brain is sophisticated like that.
Absolutely. And so I use this every day. I share this with my clients. One of my clients is, for example, Anthony Iannarino, who is quite a famous B2B sales trainer, one of the best probably in North America. And when the NASDAQ needs better sales, they call Anthony. And Anthony did a 90-day strategy sprints because he wanted to improve his own workflows. So he had an amazing business, was crushing it, but it was completely dependent on him. And this is where we start really taking seriously the question, how do I allocate my time? Because you want your business to work independently of you. You want to have a low key person risk, and you want to have also holidays, right? And you want to sleep well, and you want things to work while you sleep. So he did the sprint, and I asked him to write down his time, and he goes like, Simon, do I really need to write down my time? Come on. And I say, yeah, please, it's the sprint method. You will see why. And then he said, okay, I do it. And then he does it, and then he says, wow, hey, this really works. Fast forward 90 days later, he has now, for the first time, a COO running all operations. So he just does his zone of genius. And for him, it's select 3 tasks that give him energy, where he is the best on the planet, and he's crushing it. Everything else, he can now let the team do, and he now has a full reliable team and complete processes to do that. That's what we were working on for 90 days. And it starts just with this simple daily flow.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think once you're an entrepreneur and you're doing stuff globally like that, it's amazing how much time is sucked out of other areas where you don't necessarily need to do that. If you're making enough income, you should be able to give those tasks to other people to do, and then you can get on and do what satisfies you and makes you revenue, and you can direct your passion with your dream, and you can focus in on those sort of areas. Other people can just do the other stuff and your marketing and whatever else that is needed to build in sales. So what do you think a really good sales strategy is? Like, you go for a sprint sale, which is 90 days, which is almost like 66 days to make a habit, and then a few more days to actually install it. But 90 days is good. But what happens after the 90 days in a strategy like this? Because it is good to set yourself out strategy. And I believe that strategy should be done post-Christmas for January. So you're setting your goal and you're setting your agenda forward.
Yeah.
So how can you, what do you think about that?
You're spot right. It takes 90 days to establish new habits. You need around 21 days to break the old habits and around 66 days to establish new habits. And after 90 days, you have 3 key systems that work for you: a great client onboarding system, a great payment system, and a great closing system that work for you. And you are not dependent on your sprint coach anymore. Now, Anthony doesn't need us. He has now a great team. Everybody knows what to do. There is the marketing department with marketing tasks, sales department with sales tasks, ops department with client onboarding and client delivery tasks. And it's in one manual, and everybody knows what to do. He can do on holidays, and the machine is still working and running. So after 90 days, you have a machine that works without you. But what happens to get there? First thing, we install the 3 habits: daily time allocation, weekly getting the numbers, marketing numbers, sales numbers, ops numbers reported weekly. That's sometimes a huge change, because they get maybe monthly HubSpot or Pipedrive or whatever numbers, but nobody takes decisions once a month. You take decisions right now, and you want to take them based on reality, not based on narrative. So if you don't have your 7 days real-time dashboard, now you're taking decisions based on narratives, which basically is just guessing or flying blind, if you want. So we want to have the weak signals. We want to know, oh, this kind of lead magnet works 2.5% better than the other one. We want to learn from that. Or our LinkedIn outreach messages work 7% less than last month. What is going on? Oh, did LinkedIn change the algorithm? Maybe we should slow down that process, because the weak signal says something is not working. So you wanna know it early so that you can still act on it.
Simon, from your point of view, actually, I'm quite curious from you and how you generate sales. What's your go-to lead magnet? There's several of them out there, but I'm curious to find out, because I'm in the process of using and utilizing one. but I don't know. Some of them I signed up for, I'm just getting bombarded, and then that puts me off completely. So, what's your preference?
So which of our lead magnets works best right now?
Yeah, in your opinion, just so we can give some feed forward here, just to give some really good insights from yourself, which works for you, and maybe which works and you've heard that works exceptionally well from your clients that you've worked with, so we can give some really good insights, because I'm always so quite curious about it as well.
Well, let me start with a fool with a tool is still a fool. So before I give any lead magnet advice, we have to start strategy and then tactics. So the 3 strategies that is really important you stick to, because otherwise you will get distracted building lead magnets or building whatever, is you need to ask yourself before you start anything, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Will it improve my conversion rate by 25% if I do this? Yes, no. Will it improve my sales time? Will it shorten your sales time by 25%? Yes, no. And if a lead magnet does that, now you have a yes. And the third question is, will it improve the price that I can charge for my offerings? And if it says yes, all right. Let's say we have ticked 1, and why 25% in all of these 3? Because if you increase by 25 all of these 3, then you have doubled your revenue. That's how we do it every time in the sprint method. Now let's say you tick the box, and then okay, lead magnet is 1. So what's the purpose of a lead magnet? It is to start an energetic exchange. So you are all about relationships. It's about going deeper into that relationship. Create a little wow. Give them something. Let them solve a small problem, or it can be just that they have a ton of question marks, and your lead magnet can be a 1-page checklist on how you do something, and it helps you every day. You share it with the world. They use it. Hey, this is really helpful. That's cool. And then they put it beside them on their desk, so they will think about you. Now, this is how you manage relationships, right? You help somebody, you give them something valuable, a moment worth experiencing, and that moment will create ripple effects. Maybe 3 days later, they think about you, and then they Google you, and they see a video, which again is a lead magnet. I do daily YouTube videos, for example, just to nurture conversations and relationships. And then I put them also on LinkedIn. So to have many contact points. I want to have those 18 contact points that I need in B2B sales. I want to have those 18 contact points in less than 2 weeks. So that's why I use videos and texts, PDFs, whatever I can share. And even some people ask me, Simon, how can you share open source all your tools? That's why people pay you, right? And I go, yeah, but I want to start conversation. So I'm sharing that. I'm getting also something back. They make a screenshot. They send it to me. You get something back. When you start giving, you get also a ton back. That's why on our website, and that's maybe the best practical tip that I can give. Whatever is working for you, pick a couple of them, put them on your website as a downloadable thing. For example, how I structure my day, how I get my reports. These templates are simple spreadsheets, but they are super helpful. And on our website, people can download them for free. And
I was going to say, I think the more value that you give, because how can you differentiate yourself between yourself and someone else? And same as myself. What's the difference that you can offer? But there's so much stuff out there online. What value can you give other people as opposed to your website, blah, 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 website, I'm so great, wonderful, incredible. But what can people actually can take away and apply? So you're just giving people a gift. They can find out a lot more about what you do when speaking to you. But all you're doing is then you're sort of dangling the carrot in front of people to actually help them find out a lot more about your knowledge, your expertise, but your credibility, but you're also connecting to the trust element. People like people and brands they like, but they also like people and brands they can connect with. And that's what sales actually is, regardless of how you package it up and how you shape it. And that's exactly what you're doing. And inadvertently, I'm doing something similar to yourself. But it's also about giving value forward. And I love that from what you're doing. And it is about global selling now, because we're not selling from our towns, our villages, our countries anymore. We're doing this globally. Simon, I was going to question, I was in the back of my mind actually, where are you in the world? And I should have asked you that straight away.
I'm in Vienna, Austria.
Beautiful. What a beautiful part of the world. And you got an incredible good English accent as well. So you've helped people from different parts of the planet. Which parts have you worked with?
Our clients are mainly in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in Miami, New York, London, Zurich, Berlin, Singapore, Shanghai, Dubai right now.
Okay,
Lisbon.
Very good. So the question I always like to ask at some point is, if you were interviewing you, what sort of questions would you ask yourself?
What's really working, Simon?
And what is really working, Simon?
I need to answer it now. Yeah, I guess what's really working, that's what the weekly habit tells you. So how do I know what's really working this week? And how does my team know? We track three things. The marketing numbers, sales number, and ops numbers. Let's make an example here. Let's say we are a small agency, marketing agency. So the marketing numbers, our own, how many people were on our website this week? How many wanted something from us this week? This might be just the two marketing numbers that you collect every week. If you want to go fancy, you pick three numbers, one from your own media, one from leveraged media, one from paid media. But it's okay if you just say, okay, how many people visited us and how many want something this week? And the important thing is that you visualize it, and our templates that we give our clients have the last 4 weeks as a comparison and the last 8 weeks. So this last 4 weeks and the other last 4 weeks, and as a moving average, because you want to see it going slowly up, and you want to see again the weak signals, catching them early. And so every Friday, my team comes together, and we are a small team, but we have Michelle preparing all these things. And so we come in, one round of magic moments, what was magical this week, everybody shares. And then we look at these three numbers. We say, oh, marketing has a 2.1% upward mountain. There is a hill there. What is this hill? And then we go to the sales. Sales has a dip. There is a 3% dip in sales. What's going on here? The number of discovery calls dropped from 17 to 15 this week. What's going on? Number of rescheduled demo calls doubled this week. Is this a technical issue? Is our closer drunk? What's going on? And then we go to the ops numbers. How many people have referred to us? So how many current clients have referred to us? How many had complaints? What's the NPS, Net Promoter Score, from 1 to 10? So, which at the end makes a number from -100 to +100, but we ask them 1 to 10. And so this might be a simple dashboard that you want to have, because this answers the question, what is working for us this week? And now everybody will have different answers, but the process is important. You need a solid feedback loop about your vitals, your important things that tell you in real time, not 1 month later. They tell you in real time, hey, of all your activities, these ones are working, these are not. And what I then like to do is just to put more emphasis and more budget and more time into what's working, and gradually fading out what is not working. Sometimes we just cut it and say, okay, no budget anymore, thank you, it's over. And sometimes we just fade it out slowly over a quarter and say, okay, that's not a priority anymore. Let's fade it out every week, a couple hours less of our attention, and then this month it's over. So, and this is really important, because right now, as you can see, the outside uncertainty is so high and the rate of change is so quick. If with this system, you see things coming early and you can start reacting. And especially, again, you take decisions based on your reality, or also on your numerical reality, and not so much on narratives.
Awesome. That's good. What other question would you ask yourself? Because I love what you just said. I think that's really hugely important, is to be proactive as opposed to be reactive. And there's a lot of companies out there that react. To a certain degree, you need to react, but you have to look inside as opposed to looking at what everyone else is doing. I've always been told to tend to your own grass first before you tend to anything else that's actually happening out there. The grass is always green on the other side, but really inadvertently, it's not. Look after yourself. Everything else will look after itself for you once you tend to your own grass. I love that metaphor. I love that analogy, because it makes things a lot simpler. And especially with all of these wonderful things that we have now, tools and marketing tools, we can react straight away, which is imperative. And the feedback loop is absolutely important to have that process. The process is the process, but you've got to make sure that feedback loop within that process works for yourself to be more productive. How do you work remotely? And then on the backing up that question, what else would you ask as well? So 2 questions in one.
So we are born remote. We are remote since 4.5 years, pre-pandemic, because my question was, how can we serve the current circumstances? And the current ones is that entrepreneurs are quite busy and they need sometimes a coach for 6 quick questions in a day, and then for 3 days, nothing. And I want to be a real-time coach. So right now on their phone, they can tag me and they can say, hey, Simon, I can send this email out or that email out. Can you compare the 2 subject lines before I send it out? And I say, yeah, sure, give me a second. And then I say, oh, the second one. So since this is our operations, and these are the people we serve, and this is for us the best way to serve them, we are organizing ourselves that way. And then we were also lucky in terms of the pandemic came, and now it's the only way you can run your business. But our question was, how can we best serve? And so for us, it was like, okay, I don't have to waste time picking planes and then jumping onto planes. I can immediately help Bob. He tags me, and I can be there immediately. That was actually our intention. And then the next question was, which question I would ask myself. Right now, one key thing right now is to really work on your sales workflows, and you can do that up to a certain point. So what I am working right now personally is, okay, but what do I do with all these profits? So how do I keep them around? We have an inflation rate never seen in my short life, and so depending how old you are, you might have seen one really huge one listening right now, but it might be now the biggest inflation coming in your active life of managing cash flow. So right now I am helping my community really protect their cash, keep it during the coming crashes and the coming corrections that we will see. One is we are seeing it right now, this moment, but we will see multiple waves of this during 2022. So in addition to working on the revenue systems right now as a community, we are working on our investment systems and how to protect our wealth, not just how to build it, but how to keep it around the profits. Because if you don't do anything, it's melting at the rate of 15% right now in your hands.
And you have to look at that, obviously paying staff and everything else, but you also need to be investing back in, because without the marketing, without anything, but without your own personal professional development as well, to enable you to get better at what you do. There's something that I believe in the world of training, but I'm also scouting out the edges of sales. It's not about that, but it's also about your own psychology. It's the business skills. It's other skills that you need to do. Whatever else it is to enable you to be better at what you do and helping to serve your customers better. I think you're constantly learning how to get your business better, more streamlined. And I think we just have to look at ourselves every now and again. And exactly what you said. Look, you've got a book that's coming out on February the 22nd. I've got it in a ticker for all the audio listeners. Tell us what it's about before we wrap up for today's session. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, so the Strategy Sprints book, it took me 18 years to write it and then 1 year to type it. It's really the field adventures. It's the 12 chapters are about the 12 hard things that every business owner is chewing on. How to market, how to sell, how to upsell, how to onboard, how to hire, how to fire, the tough questions. And the foreword is written by one of our clients, by Anthony Iannarino, who is amazing at writing. And he is describing how the strategy sprint method made his sales more reliable and how it helped him get out of the weeds and have something that works without him. And it's a practical book for business owners. It's 200 pages. It's quite a heavy thing, but it's helpful. They say it's really helpful, and it can be pre-ordered now wherever you buy books. It's called Strategy Sprints.
I look forward to reading. I'm reading about 3 books myself at the moment, so I look forward to reading another one as and when I get the opportunity to get some head time down. So I think the more you read, the more you learn, the more you learn, the more you know, the more you can help yourself and also your clients. How can people find out about you? I've got your strategysprints.com website ticking down below, but majority of my listeners are on audio.
I have 2 daily YouTube channels. One is called Strategy Sprints, and one is called Simon Severino. This is where I hang out most and where you can find me. And our website is strategysprints.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Simon. You gave so many good golden nuggets, exactly what my listeners want to hear. You're listening to the Global Sales Leader podcast. I'm your host. Every week we have interesting, eclectic array of different types of people that we speak with that can give some good insights. I always think if you just take one thing away, if you take more than that, then it's worth its weight in gold in listening. And today you've been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody. Keep rolling.